as you can see behind me, Piper got a new cage. She actually got this cage a couple weeks ago, and I've been wanting to show you, but there was one final item that I was waiting on getting, and it finally came in. I didn't want to show you the tank before I had it completely how I wanted it, so now that that item is here, I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. The item I was waiting on actually got sent to me by Chewy.com, and it is this Exo-Terra brand jungle plant. This is the ficus. I got the medium one. They do come in a few different sizes. I'll put a link to this down in the description of this video in case you're interested. But as a lot of you probably know, I've worked with Chewy.com a lot in the past. I'm actually a Chewy influencer. And in the past, they only had cat and dog products. But pretty recently, they actually added a ton more products to their websites, including stuff for hamsters and reptiles. So I thought it'd be fun to showcase one of the reptile items that they had available, which was this silk plant. Like I said, it comes in a few sizes. I really like this plant because it is silk instead of plastic, so it's not quite as like rough on Piper. And I think it will look really, really good over in this corner, which I'm going to show you in a second. So before I actually show you the cage, I'll just tell you what cage this is. This is actually an Exo-Terra cage. This is the large low, so it is 36 inches long, 18 inches wide, and 12 inches tall. I've really wanted one of these cages. She was in a 20 long before, so she really didn't need to be upgraded, but I really love these cages, and I figured why not just get her a really big one? Since she is getting a little bit older and she's not a baby, she can have a bigger cage. I wouldn't recommend a cage this big for a small leopard gecko, but this gives her tons of space. It is big enough so I probably could put another gecko in with her, but since Piper is my first gecko and I don't have much experience with them, I am just gonna leave her by herself because she doesn't mind it. But I just really like these cages because, as I will show you in a minute, they open in the front, which is really cool, so it's really easy to get her out and to feed her. I know I'm gonna get a ton of questions asking where I got this. I actually picked this up at a local pet store. It was $175, so it was a tad bit expensive. I know they also do have them at PetSmart, and I think they're just under $200. So I have blabbed long enough. Let's go ahead and put this new plant in her tank and give you a tour. So it is kind of hard for me to get a good overview of the cage. Like I said, it is the large Exo-Terra, so it is pretty big. But here is what the cage looks like from the outside. It just has a screen top, and then it has these nice opening doors in the middle. It just has a lock here, and then the whole front opens. So here is just a quick little overview of her cage. She is in this hide right here, which I know the bar is blocking, so I will show you in a second. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and put the new plant in. I thought it would be perfect right over here in this corner. This is her cold side, so it's more of a little jungly theme. And then over here is her warm desert side. Her heat mat is under there, and there is Piper. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stick this plant that I got from Chewy right back in the corner. Like I said, if you're interested in this plant or any other reptile supplies, Chewy.com does carry them now, so you can check out their website. I'm just going to stick this to the glass. Now, in general, leopard geckos aren't that big of climbers, but Piper absolutely loves to climb, so I think she'll really like having some greenery in here to mess around with. So I think that looks good. It feels like it actually secured to the glass right away. So there is her new plant. I really like the way it gave her cool side more of like a jungle theme with the plant and the vine. This vine is just a little bendable vine that I got from a local pet store. I just have it twisted all up and around. And then here is her cool hide, which is a little rock hide from PetSmart. And then up in the front corner, she has a hammock. You saw me get this in one of my local pet store vlogs. If you haven't seen that vlog, I would definitely check it out. It is probably the coolest local pet store I've ever been to, and I picked this up for her there. She does really, really like this. With this cage, I do have it pretty low since the front door's open, but she still sits in it a lot and seems to like it. If you watched my last leopard gecko cage tours, I'm sure you noticed that I actually stopped using reptile carpet. I decided to try tile instead, just because when she was eating, she was getting her mouth stuck on the carpet a little bit. And so far, I'm really, really loving the tile. So these are just two 18 by 18 tiles from Home Depot. I did have to get them cut in the store a little bit. Even though this cage says it's 36 by 18, the inside dimensions are a little bit smaller. Luckily, Home Depot did cut them for me. So I just have two of those in there, and I do have a thin layer of sand underneath. Now, I would never use sand as a normal substrate, but this is underneath so she can't get to it. The reason I did this was to give the tile a solid base. Her heat mat is under here, and as you know, tile has like little grooves on the bottom. So I put some sand under there just so it evens out, so the heat will go all the way through and it won't have like hot pockets of air underneath. And so far it's working really well because of course she can't get to the sand, so I don't have to worry about impaction. And then moving back into the cage, back in the back she just has, this is her Humid Hide. This is where she goes to shed. I used to use Eco Earth in here, but I've actually changed it to wet paper towels, and that seems to be working pretty well. And then she has a piece of cork that goes all the way along the back. It's really hard to see, but it is a pretty nice piece of cork that I got at a reptile expo. And then right here in the front she has her water dish. This is actually the gecko dish that has a food bowl and water dish in one. Since she's a leopard gecko, I don't leave any food in with her because she won't eat mealworms in a bowl. So I just put some plain calcium in the little food dish section, and that is where her calcium and water are. And then if I can show you back here, she is in just one of her warm huts. Her heat mat is under both this hide and this hide, just so she has a couple options. I have an 11 by 17 Fluker's heat mat hooked up, and that is hooked into a hydroform thermostat to make sure it doesn't fluctuate too much. So she is right in there. She is getting ready to shed within the next few days. She's starting to look a little bit white. And then there's just a little cactus right there. I believe that one is from Petco. And then there is a bigger plant in the back, which is also from Petco, that's attached to a little piece of wood. And then moving over to the warm side of the tank, there's another piece of cork bark that just runs along the back. I forgot to mention this cage did come with a backdrop too. I think it's pretty cool. It just looks kind of like rocks. It is just made of foam, but I really like it so far. And then in front of that cork is another warm hut. Like I said, that is just her thermostat probe right there, which regulates the temperatures of the huts. And then there is one final plant over in the corner. So there's just a little overview of her large Exo-Terra. I know it's a little bit hard to see everything like with that bar right there. If you have any questions or if you want to see anything specific and me go into more detail on anything in her cage, let me know down in the comments and I'll try to do some more gecko videos. But that is her cage, and I think she's really liking it so far. So hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing Piper's new cage. I absolutely love how big it is, and I think she's really enjoying it too. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and let me know down in the comments what is your favorite part about Piper's cage. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you don't miss my upcoming videos. I post twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I will see you guys next time.